All right, so to finish up where we were in class this last week, um, we're going to. I figured out why my AI wasn't moving when everything fell apart and didn't get apparently saved. My nav mesh bounds were removed, so needless to say, that makes it so it will not navigate. I fixed that, so now as you see, what we've got here, uh, when we have our start game, we now have our AI that is following our path and walking towards the end. It's going to reach the end, and then it's going to path back around. So what we want to do at this point is uh, add in at least something so that we can test whether or not the. I want to actually move this barrel. Sorry, it was right in my path. All right. So now we want to do something that is going to allow us to switch back and forth between the states, right? We have our attacking state and we have our pathing states as well. But right now it's just going into one. We're not being able to translate between the two. So we're going to uh, open up our AIC enemy base script, right? We've got that set value as enum. Um, And then we're going to, we've got our enum, we've got our base state here. Um, and what we're going to do is we're going to end up cutting here. So Alt and click removes that. We're going to move these out of the way for a few minutes. All right. We're going to create actually a new function. So if we go to our functions, we can create a new function. We'll call the new function uh, set state as passive. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our event graph. We're going to actually we're actually going to cut this. We're going to, because we don't need it here anymore, we're going to now put it into the function. So we can now just paste that functionality in here. We can attach it up. And we want to make sure, since this is the passive one, we want to make sure that our enum states that it's passive. Because what we're about to do is create one that's another function on attacking. So that's what we're going to do at the moment. We're going to go ahead um, and save ourselves some time. It's going to literally be the same thing. So we're going to come here. We're going to highlight our set state as passive, right click, duplicate. We'll call it set state as attacking, right? But we want to make sure, since we just duplicated it, it's still, the state is still set to passive. We just want to change that to attacking, right? Okay. So we've got now our attacking as a separate function. Um, this is going to allow us to create a reference to then also who the AI is attacking, right? Uh, Maybe we want to switch. Um, Going passive, obviously, it doesn't matter, right? It's going right back to its route. It's going to do what it wanted to do. as attacking is going to need to get information about who it's attacking, right? We might make it, if this is a multiplayer game, switching to the nearest enemy or nearest player. Maybe this is if you have a little helper robot or something for your player, right? Maybe this is something that sets attacking to that, right? You want to have options for what it's actually attacking. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. So here in our set state as attacking, we're going to add an input. So we'll click and add input. We're going to change the name of this to add, oh, let's see, we're going to name it to attack target. Attack target. We're going to set its type to an object. We'll start typing this in, object. And then we want the object reference, right? So we have object, hovering over gives us multiple. We want object reference. All right. And then from let's see, let's compile that for the moment. If we go back to our event graph, which of course now is off, we want to hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, what we want to do, sorry for that, is we want to actually go ahead and come back in here to our event graph. We're going to go to and we're going to actually remove the set value as object, right? So this is what we are attacking, right? This is what we were using, but now this is only uh, applicable in our as attacking. So we're going to go ahead and cut this. And we'll go back to our as attacking. We're going to go ahead and paste this in here. And then we want to add it in. So I'll make some space here, right? We want to say who we're attacking before we attack them. So we'll just move this over in between, connect it through so that it's connecting that way. And then what we'll do is we're going to delete the get player character, right? And we're going to now just plug in now we're just going to plug in our attack target. That is now the object that we are attacking. Okay. And then we can go back to our event graph. Because of this change, we actually can get rid of our delay. We don't need this delay here anymore. We needed it originally because we needed the player to be in the world at that time, but now we're starting out as passive, so the player is going to be there by the time we get there. So we don't need that anymore. And let's see. And so now after our run behavior tree, we're going to add our set state as passive. So we're going to just drag that on and connect it through, right? Because that's what we want. When we're running the behavior tree, the first thing we want to do is we want to set that state to passive. So now we can go ahead and compile and save. Um, so now we have, in theory, set up for being able to start off in passive, something happened to move to attacking, and then technically move back to passive. We don't have a way to do that yet. We're going to get into uh, playing with the uh, perception in a bit, but that's not at the moment here. So we're just going to go ahead and set it up so that we can trigger it when we want to move them from passive to active and then back again. So we're going to go and do we have it open already? I don't believe so. We're going to go back to our third person into our content browser. We're going to open up in our third person in the blueprints. We want our blueprint for a third person character. So we'll open that up. This can be anywhere. I'm just going to throw it here. We're going to create a keyboard event. So right click, uh, keyboard event. We're just going to attach it to the number one, which is the easiest. And so what we'll do is we only care about it when we press it, right? We do have the ability when we release it to change something. We just want it anytime we press it, we're going to flip flop back and forth between the two. And so what we're going to do is from pressed, we're going to drag off get actor of class, and we'll set the class for this is going to be our BP enemy base, right? That's the actor that we're going to be switching back and forth of. So if we ended up having multiple of these in the scene, all of them would trigger at the same time. We currently only have one, but just letting you know. And then we're going to, from our return value, we're going to go ahead and drag off get AI controller. From its return value, we're going to cast to AIC enemy base, right? Because that's where we set up the different functions for controlling which state it's in. We're going to connect now the cast to the get. Now we've got connecting there. We're going to drag off of the execute to, it's called a flip-flop, which I think is absolutely great. Flip-flop allows for every time you press the button, in this case, it's going to do the other one, right? So the first time we press it, A is going to happen. The second time we press it, B is going to happen. And then third time, A, fourth time, B, right? It just keeps flip-flopping back and forth. And so from, once again, AIC enemy base, we're going to drag off from the as part here from this node, and we're going to drag off, we'll just put it here for the moment, set state as attacking, right? And we're going to drag this over, bring it up a little bit, because we're going to actually attach this to our A node. And the reason we're doing that is because we are immediately setting the AI enemy in this case to passive, right? So the very first time, if we set this to passive, the first time we push this, nothing's going to happen, which is perfectly fine, but doesn't really make a lot of sense. We want that first time we press it for it to make the change. So we're going to move from passive, which it boots up into, it loads into passive. And we're going to then, the first time we press 1, we're going to have it go to attacking. And then we're going to, let's see, connect to A, and then from the attack target, we're going to drag off of this. We're going to get a reference to self, which seems a little counterintuitive, but because we're doing this in the BP third person character, right? Who we want the AI to attack is the first person character, or the first person player, and which is us, which is exactly what we're calling for. So that's why we get that reference to self, right? So we want it to attack us. And so then we're going to drag off again. We'll go back here to the cast AI C enemy base. We're going to drag off the as again, and we're going to drag off set set state as passive. And we're going to connect this to the B. Right, so that's going to, now the first time we press, when we load in, it goes into passive. Now when we press 1, that first time it's going to switch to attacking and it's going to attack us. And then it's going to, the next time I press 1, it's going to go back to its patrolling path, that passive path. We're going to compile and save this. Okay, just a few last things to make this fully work. I could show it to you now, but I want to just make sure everything is working the way we want it to. And so we want to set a priority level so that the AI will stop doing the lesser important things and actually move on to more important things, right? We can set what the priority of that AI is. Uh, and this is actually a part of the decorators that we set up in our behavior tree. So what we're going to do is go back to our behavior tree and on let's see here. So we've got under flow control, we have notifying the observer, and we can notify the observer on a results change, right? And so this is when a different result is passed through to the decorator. Or we can have on a value change. And value change is just when the value changes, right? And this could be any value change. This could be literally, it doesn't, value change doesn't mean an actual change. It means when a new value is pushed through. So even if that quote new value is the same value, it would actually count it as a value change. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to just leave it on results change, um, because that way, when there's actually a change in the results, right, we move from attacking to passive or passive to attacking. That's when we want to do it. We don't want it to trigger again just in case it goes from attacking to attacking and it restarts, right? So we're going to leave it there. Then we want to set so that the observer, right, we have the observer here, uh, aborts to self. Um, so if the state changes, it's going to, the state is aborted. Um, and our lower priority, so self is going to be when it changes there. Lower priority is going to then would always be to the left, right? Lower priority is always left, right is the higher priority. So we want to set this, once again, we want to just abort this. If we change the state, we just want it to stop. We don't really care about what else is going on. We just want this one to end. And we're going to do the same thing to passive. So we want to make sure it's on results and then set our aborting to self. which gives it these different colors, which are great. Just making it clear that something is happening. And right, so that's great. It stops, but it doesn't really stop. I mean, it is, but it's not. I want to actually go ahead and move this just out, like a little space showing what's going on. Okay. So we want to now, if we are patrolling, we want to stop patrolling. We want to immediately stop it, not when it gets to the next node. We just want it to end. So if we go to our BTT, move along, the move along path patrol route, we're going to add a new event. We're going to actually, hold on a second. Let me check my notes again real quick. Okay, what we actually want to do, my notes are right. I just wanted to verify on my other one that I had done this on. We're going to actually add a new event here. And so we're going to, we want it to be event receive abort AI, right? So we're stating that if we receive that abort message, we want something to happen, right? And what we'll just do to this to make it quick, we're going to also add in we had done this before for other ones. We want to finish, instead of finish execute now we want to finish abort. Uh, right? We want to say this abort has happened and it's done. Uh, and so we'll drag off of our owner controller now from that receive and abort. We want to stop movement. And then we're going to connect that to our finish abort, right? Uh, we don't want you continuing your movement anymore along this path. You're done. And now we'll compile, save this. We're going to switch back to our behavior tree. The other thing that we want to do when we start patrolling, right, we've got here our clear focuses, focusing on the target. What we want to do is actually, because our focus when we're patrolling is on that next spot, we want to go ahead and actually clear that focus at the start of patrolling, right? So if we're getting aborted here, we want aborting to end at any spot, right? Like we have clearing focus here, we want to do the same thing when we go to our patrol. So we're going to do BTT, clear focus, right? We want to stop. We want to stop targeting who we think we should be focusing on and switch it to that new quote focus. So let's save, and hopefully everything when we hit play is working right. So we'll hit play, right? We start into our patrol, which is what we were expecting. I'm going to wait for it to get a little bit further. And I'm going to press 1, and now it moves to attacking. Comes up, it starts attacking me. No, stop, I don't want you to attack anymore. I press 1 again, it clears its focus, and it returns back to its patrolling. Patrolling is a nice slow walk, so that's obviously what it's doing. It's going to get there. It's going to continue patrolling. patrolling along its path. It'll reach the end of its path and come back. I can now switch it to attacking again. Attacking is a sprint. It's coming up attacking. And then we can send it back to patrolling. All right, so that gets us through. We're going to actually, at the meantime, I know I'd mentioned in the email that, or the announcement that I made, that I was going to get into our different perceptions in this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to actually save that for as we move into our first player game style. I think that'll be a great transition for that. I think it'll make a lot of sense in that environment. So this at least gets us down the road a bit. Yeah, any questions on this, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class soon.